Hello, Miss Art Garden here, and today we're going to draw Eleven, aka Elle, from Stranger Things. And I really like this show. I was thinking about drawing a character from it, but I couldn't decide which one. So we're going to start with the usual circle guide, horizontal face split, or vertical face split. And then the horizontal guidelines here, like where her eyes are. Thinking about making her like she's in the underground, under layer. What is it called now? Sheesh, I think it's the underneath. Yep. Anyways, I'm just gonna kind of draw in a face shape here of her looking this way. Yeah, and I thought I would draw her with her season 2 look, not her like her later look, but her like, you know, original season 2 look, pre-makeover. So we got her face shape here. Let's see, we'll have her, it's like she's turned to the camera, so we'll have a little bit of her shoulder sketched in here just real quick. And this will be her neck. And I think I'm going to draw her in a flannel shirt. So I'll just kind of sketch that all in a little tiny bit here. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to take this lasso tool and change the shape a little bit. I was kind of torn when I was trying to pick who to draw. I thought about drawing Steve and his magnificent, also magnificent, Steve hair. Okay, so we have the face shape. I put the ear in, I don't know, I just put it in. Here's where the eyes will be. So the ear would be the top of the eyes and the bottom of the nose, which will be about there. So I just kind of did that without thinking about it. But that's okay. So here's the eye shapes. Have her looking kind of towards the camera here. And we'll do the other one over here. Just kind of trace it in. It'll be pretty much right on the edge of her face here. And I actually am going to move this eye. You know, once you draw it, you kind of look at it and you can kind of picture, do the eyes line up or do they not? And then we'll draw in her nose. Her nose will actually be cutting off her eye at this angle a little bit. Just kind of that area here, and it'll come down. And we'll sketch it in just a little bit. Just got the bulbous part there, the nostril here, and the end of the nostril there. Okay, if you guys do like Stranger Things, who is your favorite character? I think most people like Elle, because she's just kind of like, you know, the tortured child, but still kind of has this sweetness to her. And all the boys are nice. Well, I mean, you know, the friendship gang are all pretty great. And Mike's dad, he's great. So we'll draw in her mouth. I don't want it to look smiling, so we're gonna kind of pre-shape it like this, like it's downturned. And then we can kind of sketch in the top area here, like that. Like the bottom area, I think we'll have it open a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Just sketch it in, even if it doesn't look like it's working. Sketch it in and then make the adjustments. It's always better to kind of fail first and then fix it than it is just to not have done anything and hate yourself. Or hate your drawing or whatever. Or your non-drawing. Because it doesn't exist because you didn't draw it in. Yeah. Okay, so just gotta keep working on these. And then eventually I think I'll draw in, like, you know, the nosebleed, but I'm not gonna sketch that in because we'll paint it. So we don't want to spend too long on the sketch layer, just enough to get the features in, and a little bit over too. There we go. Okay, we don't want to spend too long on this, so I'm going to just kind of power through this last little bit. We're going to reshape her face a little bit, making sure this cheek area sticks out. This is where her cheekbones are. A little tiny bit more than the rest, and then it comes in here. This will go up a little bit sharper here. She's got, you know, the youthful chin. And let's draw in her eyes. Draw these in a little bit better. So like that. And a little lip above. This will go in like that. And kind of reshape these like this one. bring that shape back up. So I wanted her to look like she's a little worried. And then we'll draw in her eye. And her other one. And then we'll just draw in some eyebrows. Like she's a little bit worried, so they go down at a slant. Over here and here. And then we'll draw in her hair. She's got very Ripley-esque hair. So I'm just going to kind of loosely sketch it in here. Like she's got some curls here. And they go kind of like out over here, sort of. And up over here. They kind of come out. Very curly. So I'm not going to sketch too much in. This will be mostly with the brush, you know, kind of like deciding the brush layer. Like so. Curly hair is kind of hard to paint and draw. Let's flip it real quick, make sure that we like it. I still don't really like her mouth, but I'll probably just kind of work with it while we're painting. So we'll go ahead and knock this opacity down. I'm going to change the background to like, that's too light. Let's make it darker. And let's make it kind of bluish too. So it's like a depressing dark, like a cold dark. Okay, a new layer. I'm going to call it color. I'm going to pick my brush size. It's going to be kind of big. I'm going to make my opacity 100% and leave my hardness at 72. That's good. And we're going to pick a skin tone now. A little too brown still, so I'm going to bump it up. That'll be good. Okay. And we'll just fill in anywhere that her skin is. And for now, I'm just going to kind of pick an off-white color for her shirt. Alrighty. And then for her hair, it'll be pretty dark brownish. So pick kind of a dark brown color. That'll be good. So for now, that'll be good. I didn't fill all the way out to my sketch lines on the hair because I kind of plan to go in with the hair later. You know, I mean with another layer later and just kind of fill over it. So if you want to kind of work in and reshape this before you continue, you can. This is probably pretty good. And I'm going to pick a darker color. I'm going to keep this all kind of unsaturated. So now I'm going to take my opacity and I'm going to turn it down to like 25%. And we're just going to kind of start, I'm going to turn my hardness down to like 30. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to start kind of blocking in some areas like around her nose, around this eye area here. Just sort of block in the shadows, so to say. And so she'd have it around this eye. And underneath there. She'd have it here. Definitely on the side of her nose, because I'm going to make the light source this way if I didn't tell you guys. And girls. And everyone in between. I have like a bad habit of just saying guys. So I'm going to block in some shadow area here. I picked up this color, so it'd be a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go through and make it all dark eventually. But for now, we're just going to block these in. So I've got those blocked in, and all I'm going to do now is go in and kind of darken the areas I want darker and lighten the area. Well, I guess we'll go through highlights separately, but for right now I'm going to go in and just darken all the areas that I want to be even darker and just kind of keep pushing those values, the light color shade values. Okay, I'm picking an even darker color and go in. And this area here will be the darkest area. Will be like under her chin here. I'll just kind of add some shadows there. We can blend all this in later. If you're worried about it looking good, and you can kind of keep your stuff formed up by erasing anything that goes outside of the lines. Or you can make a clipping mask, which I suppose I can show you how to do that. You hit new layer, use previous layer as clipping mask. And if you need a new layer, you can go to layer new. Or you can duplicate, right click, duplicate layer. And then right click, turn to clipping mask. Either way you want. So now it'll just show up on the stuff you've already drawn on. I've probably shown you guys that if you guys and gals, if you've watched my videos before, you've probably seen that several times. But I always feel, in case there's new viewers out there, give them a chance. So there's kind of this area here where her cheeks are just a tiny bit more sunken that I'm trying to kind of define. So I'm just going to keep working on that and working on darkening the areas of her around her eyes and stuff. Alright, and then I'm just going to kind of work on blending some of this in so it's not quite such a mess. So I'm just going to pick up, you can turn your opacity down a little bit if you want this blending to be extra smooth. Just kind of pick up any like hard, like here's a real hard, just random block of color here. So I can pick this up and kind of redefine more what I was going for, which would be just kind of like a crease around the nose area. So I just want this to be kind of thin. I'm going to pick up that color and keep kind of blending it until there's just a little bit here. On this hard edge over here, I actually want this to come out more like her nose is causing a dark shadow here. So I'll move that in. And then I'll just kind of blend it by picking up the surrounding colors so that there's not, you know, the hard shadow edge. So over here, we don't want this to look so blotchy, so I'm just going to kind of keep picking up colors and blending them in until they all look a little more uniform. Just like so. And then I want some of this light to come through here on the cheekbone area like that. And then we'll just kind of blend this in. Okay? And I think I've made this all a little bit too yellow. I was going for more of a desaturated look. I'm going to take a minute here to adjust the colors. I'm going to go to Curves, which is Command M, or it's under Image, Adjustments, and Curves, just like that. And then I'm going to go to Green, and I'm going to mess with it till it's not quite so, you know, yellow looking. That's before, after, just a little tiny change. You can change, I'm going to, let's see, do that for the whole RGB, and let's take a look at the red here real quick. Nope, wrong way. I don't want to mess with the blue at all. Okay, so that's good. And then I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation, which is Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, or Command U. Okay, and I'm just going to actually desaturate her a little bit, as odd as that sounds. So that's before, after. So just so she's kind of like washed out from the underneath. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to make this background a little bit darker. Now let's go ahead and work on some of her hair and her outfit too, just so we get some shadows placed for them. So mostly her hair will just be defined by the shadows. So let's, you know, kind of do some of these curls. Just think about like where you put your sketch layer in and think about once it's gone what will remain, and put some curls in. I'm actually going to merge these. Well, let's just do a new layer, new hair layer, because this is sometimes easier. So then we know you can go out of the lines here. So let's just kind of merge the, or you know, kind of sketch some of these shadowy areas in, kind of like so. Okay, and I'm going to take just the natural black and just put a couple areas in with it too. I mean, with just the default black of the painting program. And I'm going to focus on making this whole area a little bit darker than the rest, since the little tiny bit of light will kind of be coming from this way. So that looks good. Just, you know, to kind of sketch in the hair. And then now we'll do the shirt too, to kind of just finish it off. So I want to make this kind of a yellow brown, I think. I don't want to do this on the hair layer. Make sure you go back to the other layer, and we'll just kind of sketch this in. Sketch it in first, kind of how the this will be kind of this dark area here. Color will come out. This was drawn terribly the first time around. I'm on a clipping mask. I'm gonna merge this so I can like that, and then put this in like so. I think I need to just turn my opacity up real quick so I can make these adjustments quicker. The sketch layer is messing me up too. There we go. So I want this to come out like this, and then so this is like the other side of her collar coming out, if that makes sense. And then over here her collar would come down. I think it would just come down like way over here, you just wouldn't see it. And that's where the shoulder is. So I'll just put it in like that. I guess you could see a little bit more of her collar, so let's just put it in maybe like that. Hey, we can just make up a shirt. It doesn't have to be beautiful. And then eventually we'll have, so like in the back stitching, let's turn this down back to 25-ish. The back stitching would be here, you know, the shoulder seam would be here, And I think this would come back a little bit more like this and go up like that. We'll probably just have like plaid stuff, so it'll go, you know, plaid-y like. So for now, I want to go back to her face. I'll turn this sketch layer back on. I'm going to go back to her face and redefine her features so we can turn the sketch layer off completely. So let's go in with a really dark brown and highlight her outline, or whatever you want to call it, her nose area here. I think I had that just on black, which I didn't exactly mean to do, so we'll just pick that color up instead. And then we'll do the eyes here and just kind of sketch them in, trace over those lines, or just kind of rework the shape however you want it to be. Okay, like that. And we'll draw her eyes in too while we're at it. Okay, I'm going to go up to the hair layer real quick, pick up this color, and just kind of sketch in her eyebrows, so to say, like that. And this one too. Just kind of keep picking up the brush and laying down some pigment here. I'll make it a little bigger and go through it once more. You can see it like that. You can go in and redefine that however you want. Do her lips. So pick up this color and we'll just kind of go in. There'll be a nice shadow area here where her mouth is open. There'll be a little shadow over here. And just kind of sketch that in. Okay, I'm going to pick like a reddish color and make her mouth a little bit more shaped the way I want it. So it comes down and like that. Let's take a look. Okay, that's good. And then we'll add in this little tiny bit of red here. I'm sorry you guys are hearing my fan in the background. I have my window open. It's actually kind of hot, even though it's middle of November and I live in the Rocky Mountains where it's always freezing. I think there's a big cold front in the east. And maybe that's, I don't know, somehow affecting the weather here. Kind of weird color, but there we go. So I think we can go without the sketch layer now. So next up, I'm going to take this color and I'm going to go to color dodge. And I'm going to turn it way down. I'm going to turn my hardness all the way down. Oh, I'm on hair, that's why. There we go. I'm going to have it a little more, like 8%. And we're going to go in, and anywhere that there's like a big highlighted area, like just this whole area over here, if we're talking about the one light source, we're going to just kind of work on adding some tiny highlights, especially like on our nose area here. So now we have some highlights to work with as well. If you want to kind of keep pushing them, I'm going to go back to this area. So I'm going to turn this back up to like normal, and 21% is fine. And I'm just going to kind of work this area in so it looks more like a shadow. I've picked this color up. I'll put a little highlight right here. Just a little bit. There we go. Kind of a mess, but we'll just blend it in. I'm just going to add some more shadows. Keep working on refining those shadows. Okay, so we kind of have these a little more defined now. I've kind of done the nose a little bit here. I'm going to go through a little bit more. So you want a dark shadow under here, into this area, and you want one kind of over here in a triangular shape. And just kind of blend them in as you work them in. And then I want to bring this line a little bit up like that. Okay. And then I kind of want these to connect up a tiny bit. And I'm going to take a little highlight, add it, a little tiny one over here, and then work it in a little bit. Does that look a little bit like L now? Then we'll just add in the little kind of nose, nostril areas here. Just make it real dark. And I'm going to make a little dark area here. And then kind of bring this out to kind of blend that in. It looks a little bit like L. There's some issues here. This mouth looks weird because there needs to be a little highlight where it sticks up here. So just a kind of tiny triangle of color there. And I want this whole area to look a little bit more bright here and here. So we'll just pick up some colors and work that in. Kind of bring this over so it's a little bit more of a natural shape like that. And I'll just add a little bit of a dark shadow here. So we've got some pretty defining shadows there. I'm going to go in and work on her lips. Let's see, I want this here to look pretty dark. And then it comes over here, and then there's just a hint of teeth in here. Like so. And then we'll draw this in too. Just a real tiny hint that her mouth is just a little bit open. And then this will all go down a little bit, so we'll work that down. I just realized something. I was wondering why it was so hard to peel. Obviously I've made her lips in her hair area. Oh, she's got the pucker mouth. So I'm going to take this hair. I'm just fine. It's just an easy fix. I always mess up little things. So I'm going to take this hair and I'm going to select it with the lasso tool. The lips. I'm going to take the lips, select it with that lasso tool, and then I'm going to cut it, which is Command X or Edit, Cut. And then when I paste it, since I don't want it to be pasted, if you just paste it regularly, I'll just paste it like randomly in the middle of the page. So I'm going to hit Command Shift V. So just like that. And then you can move this layer right in front of the color and merge it down, and now it's part of the color layer instead of the hair layer. Just little mistakes you make in your life. You just pick up your spirits and keep going, or whatever. Whatever the saying would be. I don't know. So I'm going to add a little tiny highlight. Mostly just down right near the bottom of the lips there. I'm going to move her lips over a bit. So I'm going to duplicate layer, create clipping mask. I'm going to highlight this whole area, feather about 10, which is already at, and then I can move it around without it looking weird. So there we go, just like that. And I'm actually going to warp it now while I still have it selected. And now we can come in and little other adjustments we want to make. We can just make, yeah, with painting. With the magic of painting over. So I want this to go in a little bit. I want her lips to go down a bit here and then down here. You can take filter, liquify, and you can do things like this is just because it's on a clipping mask. Don't worry about that. That's what it would look like if you hadn't layered it over. You take this and kind of reshape them as you want. Now I'm going to take the shadowy area here under the lips and just kind of re-emphasize it. I'm going to bring this up because I don't like how far down that is. And bring this out a little bit. Like there. And then you can add some shadows. Just keep working on it. Okay, so I've worked on some more detail. I'm merging the layer. I'm duplicating it because I want to do one little warp before I move on. Okay, so that's before, that's after. Just a little correction. So let's take a moment here and go to Image, Image Rotation, flip canvas horizontally. And just kind of look and see if there's anything that stands out as being wrong. You can kind of flip it back and forth. It gives your brain kind of a fresh view of things. It's nothing terrible. There's a few little things, but nothing terrible sticks out other than I think this needs to come out just a tiny bit. Tiny bit. So I'm going to up my thing and just bring out just a tiny bit, and then I can blend that in later. But for now, that's good. And I'm going to actually erase just a tiny shave off a bit of her chin here. Okay, there we go. And we'll just keep going. So next let's detail the eyes. I'm just going to take like the natural black and bump my opacity down to like 19. And we're just going to kind of reshape them. So they'll kind of have this corner area here. I was in the eraser. Whoopsies. There we go. Bump the eraser down to like 19, 18. That's good. I mean, not the eraser, the brush. Oh my gosh, you guys can't even follow along. I'm too dumb. Okay, and then I'm going to pick that color up before it gets all black. So it's a little less black now, as you can see. Just like so. And we're just going to kind of shape that eye in. This eye is drooping a bit, so I'm going to bring it up like that. And then this one goes down. And we'll go a little bit, this top part goes a little bit over this bottom part. And then we'll go over here. I want this, I'm going to pick this color up and erase this area, so to say, and then move this area up I'm going to just pick the natural black so it can really reaffirm that shape there. And we're just going to kind of work in those shadows, like the shadow area that goes up here, under here. Okay. And this is actually going to, the whole thing is going to come out a little bit more like that. So there's a little more shadow there. I'm going to bring this kind of highlighted area up a little bit here. Okay. Just kind of keep working on it until it looks right. Okay, so I just want to get some more darker shadows. I'm always pushing those shadows. I want to go in and reshape some of this. It's gotten out of control here. So I'm going to take this apart here, take this apart, just kind of work this in just a tiny bit because it looks wrong. Oh, I've got my, when I messed up my brush or my thing. So I'm going to have this here and 50% is good. And I'm just going to kind of go in and carefully edge that away to more of the shape that I want. And then I'm going to take my brush and move the shadow up just a bit so that there's more of like a triangular shadow here. And that's a little too much, so I'll just go in there. So that looks good. Now we worked a lot on the face. I'm going to go ahead and work on some of her clothing. Right now it's pretty messy. So let's just go in. We're just going to, I'm never usually very detailed with clothing. It's my downside, my downfall. So we're just going to go in and quickly kind of add some shadows. So this one sticks out, so obviously you want the shadows here. I'm going to pick up this color, bring it over here, bring it up here. I'm actually going to take this here, highlight the area, and do the same here. Just a little tiny bit. So you can kind of see what the heck is going on with her clothes. Let's just have this go down like that and stick behind. And if we do that, we'll need a chateau underneath the fold, like so. Okay, and then we're gonna, this whole back area will be a little more. Let's go ahead and duplicate, create clipping mask. And I'm gonna actually erase some of this because I don't want that to be. Okay, great. Now we can add some shadow here. I'm gonna turn my brush hardness up just a tiny bit so it doesn't look so weird. And kind of add the shadow here too. And you can add like a little tiny highlight here, like the very back of her is catching some light so it doesn't look so oddly edgy there. I'm gonna take this eraser and kind of smooth that area out a bit. There we go. Just keep doing little details like that. But for now, we're just gonna kind of add in what we'd like it to look like highlight-wise. So that looks pretty good, don't you think? Okay, sorry I had to pause it there so I could fix my curtain because the sun was stabbing my eyeballs. Since I just noticed something, I'm actually going to be a mad woman here. I'm going to select these 3 layers, or you can just merge this one. We'll select these 2 layers by holding down the shift key and clicking them both. And I'm going to move this whole thing up. So, before, after. And I just want her face was looking a little weird. And since we did that, I'm going to move her eyes down. So duplicate layer, create clipping mask, and then we're just going to select first. This eye is just totally messed up. I can see it now. Feather 10-ish pixels and twist it up like so. Bueno. And then we're gonna move this over here. Now this one needs to go down too. Does that look good? Let's flip these. That looks better. Okay, and then I'm gonna fix this little area that I kind of made a mess of and then abandoned. And then we're just gonna whoosh, move that light up, move the shadow over under her lip a bit. Just generally blend this. What am I at? 18%? That's good. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Ish. Okay, now we'll do the hair. I think that's what I was going to do now. So I'm going to actually just take black because her hair is going to be so dark and work in some curly cues here. I have my brush at 18%. I'm going to turn my hardness up to like 38%, I guess. And just kind of draw on some curls here. Okay, so, you know, with curls, you kind of think of the shadows and triangles like that. So, let's make this area around her face real dark. And just kind of work on these. I'm going to make my brush a little smaller and come out and make some more of these I'm going to make my hardness a little less since I'm going to do these two. Just kind of work some curly areas in. And then, yeah. So I really want her to have a curl that goes over here. Like that. So I'm just going to draw it in. And one that kind of comes down on her forehead a little tiny bit here. Just like that. I don't quite like it quite that extreme, so I'm going to fix it like that. There we go. So now I'm going to take this and just kind of sort of almost blend in some of these harder peaks. So anywhere basically where it comes up, like here it came up here, so I'm going to kind of blend this in. So you still see the streaks, but the hair doesn't look so bad. I'm going to actually go under this color layer now and erase a little bit more of this underneath that I didn't like. Then go back up to the hair and just kind of keep working. I guess we can make some strands that curl out here and come out like that. Oops, too long. There we go. Curly hair. I think curly hair is harder to paint, but at the same time, really straight hair is kind of hard too. I don't know if you can really win here on the hair front. Looking great either way. Curly hair is more interesting, I think. So maybe it's more fun in a way. Okay, and now I want like another color. Oopsies. Okay, I want another color. Kind of a brownish color. Just so her hair isn't two-toned. It's gonna have a couple more. You know, in fact, let's take, you can either do overlay or color burn. I'm gonna do color burn and pick kind of a brownish color. Bump it down to like 11%. And I'm just gonna go in now. This is gonna be really dark. Let's bring it up. So let's bring it all the way down to like 3%. And then we'll go in. Yeah, that's good. And we're just gonna kind of, and you can even change the color to like a yellow and bring it in some areas as well. And if you're really savvy, you probably want to make it kind of a bluish since everything else is pretty desaturated. So let's add that bluish too. And I'm going to actually choose it to overlay for a minute. Choose it, change it. Change it to overlay and add some of these blue colors in. Not quite that heavy. Just a few little here and there, and we're going to go in with the highlights here next. So just a few little there and there. Okay, now I'm going to change this back to like 16 and normal. And if you remember, I want this part to look darker, so I'm just going to hit the basically the black and just almost wipe out all that information I just painstakingly painted in. Just like so. Okay? And then we'll leave kind of this area here. And then I'm going to take this smaller brush, pick just a slightly brighter color, and work in a few highlights that you'll see. I think we've lost her curls over here, so let's just bring one in like that, and then like that, and then blend that in. Just a tiny little curl there. Okay, make the brush even smaller, add in some more highlights. Get an even brighter color, make your brush even smaller, and then on those already highlighted areas just kind of work a few more in, and that'll kind of give it a textured look. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of look around now, places that might have like an extra shine to them, and add them in somewhere like that. Definitely over here. It was a very Rain Man moment. Wapner at 8. I don't. Anyone out there even know what Rain Man is? No. Okay. She looks nice. I'm gonna finish off. I'm gonna take the color dodge and make it really low, and kind of do like a. Is that coming across at all? Let me see something here. Yes, it comes across a little bit. Let's turn it down. And we'll pick like a nice blue color here and just kind of, oh, not like that. And then bring it down like that. Give her some kind of highlighty gleam to her lovely hair. Okay, now I want to go in, while I still have, let's turn it to overlay. There we go. I'm going to pick a blue and I'm going to go in with overlay. I'm going to turn this down to like 9, more than that, 4. Yeah. And I'm going to actually just add some like blue into her face here. So she's just mostly the highlighted areas. So around that, and maybe just a little tiny bit around her chin there. And then I'm going to take the red, because she'll have some red on her nose. And I think under the eyes here. Just give her, so she's not so, you know, she's got some more color to her. And I think I'm going to redden up her mouth a tiny bit before I work on it more. And we can even do her cheek just a little bit over here. And then we'll do a little bit more red here. That's going overboard. Oh, that was all on her hair, wasn't it? I'm so dumb. It's okay. We got this. Ish. I'm going to select what I just did. We're going to feather it. Oh, wait. We don't want the eyebrows to leave. Okay. I guess I'll refeather it. There we go. So now we're going to X. And then we're going to go down here. Command-Shift-V. And we're just going to pick this as overlay. See, like that? That was my original intent. I'm going to merge this all. There we go. It's like I never messed up. So now let's just go on and work on her mouth and her eyes, because that's about it. Well, actually, there's one more thing. I'm going to create a clipping mask. I'm going to go to color dodge, and I'm going to pick that blue-ish color, or just a bluish color, and I'm going to just kind of highlight the very edge of her hair here, and then I'm going to take a white and highlight just the very edge of her hair over here. And you can see I've kind of have this a little bit sticking out here. I'll just go over this layer down below, and that just kind of gives her a little bit more like there's a little tiny light hitting her. Okay, this is another hugely long video, so I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to work on her lips. We're going to, while we're still on color dodge, I'm going to pick a color and just kind of where the light would be hitting this bottom one here and a little bit of this top here. Make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to take a normal brush, turn it back to 15, go in here. I want that little bit of tooth to show a little bit more, like that. Just a little tiny bit here, a little tiny here, I guess. I'm going to actually up her whites of her eyes. And she's got brown eyes, as I've just now remembered when I looked at my reference. So we're gonna color them in. Now I'm going to take just a regular black color, 14 is good, and turn my hardness all the way down and make my brush a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go in here and really reaffirm some shadows under her eyes and even kind of in the corner here. Perfect. And then I'm going to take the whites and I'm going to add this kind of shadowy line here. Actually, wait, I forgot. Let's do a pupil. So let's turn this up to like 33. And I'm going to turn my hardness up to like 60. I'm going to make the brush about so big and add a pupil in. Just like that. You can kind of hardly see it. If you really want to make it darker, you can do darker. There we go. Now I'm going to go back down like 18%. Make my brush a little smaller. Make my hardness a little softer. And kind of work in, let's make a highlight right at the center of her eye. Like it's really catching the light there. And then we'll make one tiny bit down here too. So we got lots of highlights in her eyes. It looks like she's really looking at something spooky there. Okay, I'm going to pick a red color and bring it in the corner of her eyes. I'm actually going to pick overlay, so it'll look a little nicer when I work that in. And corner of this one too. I'm going to go back to the white. I'm going to tiny highlight underneath here. And you can make it even more so it looks like she's crying if you want. A little tiny bit. Maybe that's a little overboard. And I'm going to pick up one of these colors here and make a little highlight for her eye. Like, you know, you have kind of like an area that sticks up there and the eye, and you can work that in a bit. So now her eye looks a little bit too like stretched, which is fine because I can duplicate layer, create clip a mask, select it, feather it by 10, and move it in just a bit. We can move this one a bit too. Now we're just going to kind of finish the painting touches by adding some more shadows, and especially to this corner area where it'll be sticking in a bit. Now I'm going to take my brush and make it harder. I'm going to bump my opacity up to like 30, and I'm going to go in and just kind of give her a little tiny bit of lash detail, eyelash detail. Just kind of, just add a few eyelashes basically. We're almost done. I'm just going to go in now and add some last minute highlights, and then we'll be finished. Okay, two things. I lied, we're not almost done. We are, but I'm going to do a background real quick. And let's just make, so let's go to inches 1 by 1. Yeah, 300 is fine. And then I want like a weird shape. So like a little weird shape. So I guess that's good enough. So edit, define brush preset. And I'm just doing this so that we can have, we're going to go to brush shape dynamics. We're going to I'm doing this so we can have some atmospheric brush. I cannot say that. And I'm going to have it angle jitter a lot. Yes. And then I'm going to go to scattering. I'm going to scatter. And I'm going to go back up to brush pre-shapes and shape it. Where's the size jitter? I really want that size jitter. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to go back to brush shapes. I'm sorry this is going so fast, you guys. I just want to I don't know how much people really want to watch these long videos. Like, people who are really interested in watching it might want it. But anyways, I have this on a new layer, and I've just done that. I'm going to go up here, make another layer. I won't bother to label it. And put it like, so it goes over her a bit. So these are like those floaty things in the underneath. Let's make another layer. I'm going to blur these, but this one I think we'll do a foreground blur on, so that those are just really sticking out. Okay, so we'll go back to this first one. I guess we'll just call this Fluff 1, Fluff 2, Fluff 3. Fluff 1, we're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And really, well, this is the 21.9 is what I'm going with. Fluff 2, we'll do the same. Oh, I used to be able to take Command F. That was something else. And then this one we're going to go to Filter, Blur Gallery, Field Blur. And then you just kind of mess with this how you want. So, like that. That looks good. You can kind of see there's some fluff areas. And then you hit OK. Okay. A few little things. I'm going to go back to another brush. Okay, sorry, I had to get my other brush back. So now we're going to go back to color, and I'm going to take a really small brush, just a few little detailing things I forgot to do. Really small brush, and just kind of highlight some of these areas a bit. I'm going to just blow this up a bit. I try not to blow it up when I'm doing these, but I don't know why not. A few little tiny things there. One under her mouth here. And we'll do a little tiny bit on her tooth there, a tiny bit of one here, and we'll just call that good. There we go. Okay, and then the second thing, or the third thing, depending on, we're going to make another layer, and we're going to call it blood. We're going to make a little bit of a bloody nose here. We're going to take a red color, blood red color, and we're just going to, I know it looks weird now, but we're going to put it here. There we go, just a little tiny bit of blood. And we're just gonna pick a shadowy color. Oh, what's my hardness at? Let's turn it down a little bit. And we're just gonna kind of work this in. Here, we can blow this up again. So the shadow would mostly be here. I'm gonna turn it to black. Really work that in. And a tiny bit here to outline it, except I don't want that super black. We'll turn like a sort of black. Okay. And we can go back to the super black-ish color here. Really that. And a tiny bit of lighter color red. Well, let's add a little bit more red here. And a tiny, tiny bit here where the light would catch it. Okay. Even redder. Okay. And now we're going to just pick a highlight and highlight that so the light's totally catching it. We'll do a little bit of highlight down here as well. Okay, and then so it looks more in place, we're going to take some, let's go down to this layer. Take some of this and we're just going to add a tiny shadow caused by the blood. Okay, so now she's got the bloody nose, she's got the underneath. The last little thing I might do is just kind of, let's pick like a gross green, kind of just, you know, sort of give this background some more texture so it's not just this boring uniformed color. So she's just more in this atmospheric underneath craziness. There is Elle in the underneath, looking kind of unhappy, but I'm sure she'll find her way out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Let's Paint. Wait, I'm going to do one more thing. One more thing, just as I'm closing off, I'm going to add a little bit of hair up here. I think she just looks a little too combed and neat for her situation. So I'm going to just kind of work on this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Paint. And if you have a character suggestion for who I should do for my next Let's Paint or my next Let's Draw, or if you want to talk, suggest, cannot talk and paint. If you want to suggest a character for my speed paints or anything, just leave a comment below with your suggestion. So take care, and I will see you in the next video.